Hello again, it's Robert, and welcome to segment 3. We're going to call this segment Survivors versus Thrivers. And the reason why we say survivors versus thrivers is because it's kind of an ambivalence thing between being stuck and being unstuck. It's kind of a way of looking at people who are stuck and people who are unstuck. So I'd like to give you a little analogy first, and then I'll explain to you my reasoning behind survivors and thrivers. First, I'd like to say that a survivor is somebody who does nothing but talk about their ordeal and does nothing about it. A thriver is somebody who takes what they've learned from their ordeals and takes that knowledge and does something about it. So to give you an analogy, let's take two men in a boat. Two men go out in a boat. Once they get out so far from shore, they realize that there's water coming in. And they look down in the bottom of the boat, and there's a little round hole, and the water is filling up through the hole, and just over, floating around, is this little plug style thingy. They do nothing about it, only panic. The boat fills up full of water. They both end up jumping overboard and having to swim a long way back to shore, climb up on the beach and catch their breath, and people start to crowd around. Now, while the people are starting to crowd around, the first fellow starts talking all about his ordeal, and he doesn't stop talking. All he talks about is the fact that he almost drowned, that he had a near-death experience, that he's a victim, that, he just can't get past it. He just couldn't let go of the fact that I almost drowned, and he kept talking about it, and he just kept rambling on about it, and he wouldn't stop. The second fellow, on the other hand, gets up, walks up the beach, finds another boat, gets in the boat, takes the little plug, fills the hole, and rows away from shore. That day he enjoyed his day out on the water to the fullest. Now that's a pretty good analogy, because what I mean by it in reasoning is the fact that the first fellow who stayed on the beach and done nothing but talk about his ordeal was a survivor. He did survive, but he did nothing about it. The second fellow we call a thriver, because as well he survived, but on top of that, he took the knowledge that he had just learned from surviving that ordeal, he moved forward, filled the hole with the plug, took the boat in the water, and enjoyed his day, which we would really say he moved on, could say he recovered. So there is a big difference between surviving and thriving. In order to actually get unstuck, you need to really start to thrive. You need to be a thriver. You need to believe that you're a thriver, and you need to look towards a brighter future. You need to learn from your past mistakes, learn from your ordeals with your illness, through all the ups and downs and all the episodes, all the angst that you felt, and you need to learn from that, take that knowledge, and use it. You see, knowledge equals action. So if we, as survivors, have all this knowledge that we just learned from what happened to us, and we do nothing about it, well, we can pretty well say it's comprehension. But if we take all this knowledge and we learn from it and we use it to our advantage and move forwards towards recovery, well, then guaranteed we can call ourselves thrivers. There's a big difference, but yet they're still pretty well close related, because they both start out the same way, just with a different result. And if you look at the definition of insanity, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting change. A thriver doesn't do the same thing over and over. A thriver does once, turns around, learns from it, and moves forward. So I'd like to leave you with something to think about now, and that's the fact that if you want to be a thriver, take a good look at yourself, where you've come from, what you've been through, and take what you can learn from that and see what you can do with it. Thanks for dropping in. Ciao for now.